Roll the clock back to the late 1960s, a tumultuous time in American history. Vietnam War protests were at their peak, civil rights activists were battling systemic racism, and a vibrant counterculture was challenging the status quo. Amidst these seismic cultural shifts, there was a lesser-known struggle brewing in the shadows, the fight for LGBTQ+ rights. The epicenter of this struggle? A small, nondescript bar in Greenwich Village, New York City, known as the Stonewall Inn. In the late 60s, the Stonewall Inn was one of the few establishments that opened its doors to the queer community. Despite the risks, the LGBTQ+ individuals congregated there, seeking solace, acceptance, and unity. But these were not easy times for the community. At the time, homosexuality was considered a mental illness by the American Psychiatric Association, and it was illegal in almost all states. Police raids on gay bars were frequent, and the Stonewall Inn was no exception. Our story culminates on a hot summer night, June 28, 1969. That night the New York Police Department raided the Stonewall Inn. Instead of dispersing or hiding, the patrons fought back. This act of resistance ignited the Stonewall riots, a series of protests and demonstrations that lasted several days and drew hundreds of supporters. Prominent figures emerged in these protests, such as Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, two trans women of color who were instrumental in fighting back against the police. Their courageous acts of defiance became a symbol of the LGBTQ+ resistance movement. The Stonewall Uprising also prompted political action. It led to the formation of the Gay Liberation Front, the first group to publicly advocate for equal rights for homosexuals. These activists worked tirelessly to change discriminatory laws and attitudes, marking the birth of the modern LGBTQ+ rights movement. Despite the challenges, the LGBTQ+ community persevered, drawing strength from the spirit of Stonewall. Over time, their relentless advocacy transformed public perception and legislation. In 1973, the American Psychiatric Association declassified homosexuality as a mental disorder. By 2015, the LGBTQ+ community had won the right to marry in all 50 states. However, the legacy of Stonewall extends beyond national borders. Stonewall's influence reverberated globally, inspiring similar movements and protests around the world. Today, every June, millions of people worldwide participate in Pride Month, commemorating the Stonewall Uprising and celebrating LGBTQ+ liberation. But let's not forget that the fight is far from over. Despite the progress, discrimination and violence against the LGBTQ+ community persist, and so does the struggle for complete equality. According to a 2018 report by the FBI, 19.6% of hate crimes in the U.S. targeted individuals based on sexual orientation, demonstrating the continued hostility faced by the community. In the wake of these ongoing challenges, we must remember the Stonewall Uprising and its lasting impact. The bravery and resilience exhibited by the patrons of the Stonewall and remind us that change is possible, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable adversity. Reflecting on the famous words of American historian David Carter, Stonewall was the Rosa Parks moment, the time that gay people stood up and said no. And once that psychological hurdle had been crossed, it was clear. If we can say no to the police, we can say no to anyone. In wrapping up, the Stonewall Uprising wasn't just a riot, it was a catalyst for a revolution. It was a moment that forever altered the course of history for the LGBTQ+ community and continues to inspire resistance, resilience, and hope around the world. Let's remember and honor the legacy of Stonewall because, as Marsha P. Johnson beautifully put it, no pride for some of us without liberation for all of us. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, sharing it with others, and subscribing to our channel for more interesting material. In the comments area below, we'd love to hear your views and opinions on this topic. Thank you for your support, and we hope to bring you more intriguing stories and puzzles from around the world in the future. Remember to stay informed, interested, and safe.